The video from the quarterly shareholders meeting was still trending on LinkedIn, me being escorted out of Neurotech's headquarters while Victoria Chen, fresh from MIT and barely 28, presented her vision for modernizing the company's leadership. The comment section was brutal. Time for the old guard to step aside. And finally some young blood in tech. Old guard. I was 43 and had built Neurotech from a garage startup to a $2 billion company. Ms. Williams? My new executive assistant's voice came through the intercom. The Chen Global Industries board members are assembled for the emergency meeting. I adjusted my Tom Ford suit, a far cry from the casual tech CEO wardrobe I'd worn at Neurotech. Amazing how 6 months and $4 billion in silent acquisitions could change one's style preferences. Thank you, Marcus and Victoria Chen. Still trying to reach you about the Neurotech merger proposal. She's left 12 messages. I smiled, pulling up the real-time stock ticker showing Chen Global Industries' share price. It had taken 5 months of careful maneuvering, using shell companies and blind trusts, to acquire controlling interest in the Chen family's pride and joy. Their 80-year-old business empire, spanning real estate, shipping, and technology investments, was now effectively mine. Victoria had no idea that while she was busy redecorating my old office and sleeping with my husband, I was systematically buying up her family's company through various offshore entities. The same business acumen she'd mocked as outdated had just orchestrated the biggest silent takeover in recent history. The CGI boardroom fell silent as I entered. These men, mostly contemporaries of Victoria's father, had expected to meet with their traditional investment partners today. Instead, they got me, the woman they'd watched being humiliated in viral business videos 6 months ago. Gentlemen, I said, taking my place at the head of the table. I believe we need to discuss some changes in company direction. This is irregular, Frederick Chen, Victoria's uncle, sputtered. Where is the Chen family representative? You're looking at the majority shareholders representative. I opened my tablet, displaying my ownership documentation. Through various investment vehicles, I now control 51% of CGI's voting shares. The room erupted in confused murmurs. Frederick Chen's face turned an alarming shade of red. Impossible, the family trust was leveraged against high-risk tech investments 6 months ago. I interrupted smoothly, by one Victoria Chen, who used her trust fund as collateral to finance her takeover of Neurotech. I paused, enjoying the dawning horror on their faces. Unfortunately for her, those investments didn't perform as expected. My phone buzzed again, Victoria's 13th attempt to reach me today. The merger she wanted to discuss wasn't just ambitious, it was necessary for her survival. Neurotech was bleeding money under her leadership, and she needed CGI's resources to stay afloat. This is corporate warfare, another board member accused. No, I corrected, this is business. As Victoria so helpfully pointed out 6 months ago, I projected her LinkedIn post onto the screen. Business isn't personal, it's about adapting or dying. My phone lit up with a text from my ex-husband. Whatever you're doing, stop. Victoria's family is threatening to call off the engagement. We need to talk. I ignored it, focusing on the board. Now, about Neurotech's merger proposal. I vote no. Frederick Chen slammed his hand on the table. That merger could save both companies. CGI doesn't need saving. Your niece's poor investment choices do. I pulled up Neurotech's latest financial reports. Under her leadership, the company has lost 40% of its market value. The innovative AI technology I developed, stalled. The government contracts I secured, at risk. She's young, someone defended weakly. Learning. Yes, she is. And now she's learning that actions have consequences. I stood smoothing my suit. Gentlemen, you have a choice. Work with me to restore CGI to its former glory, or tender your resignations. Either way, the Chen family's control of this company ended the moment Victoria decided to sacrifice her trust fund for a hostile takeover. As if on cue, my phone displayed breaking news. Neurotech stocks plummet amid merger uncertainty. Attached was a photo of Victoria leaving her office, looking significantly less polished than the day she had me removed. Frederick Chen cleared his throat. What are your plans for the company? To run it professionally, profitably, and without drama. I met each board member's eyes. Unlike some, I didn't acquire this company for revenge. I acquired it because I recognize its potential. And neurotech? Someone asked. Will serve as an object lesson in the dangers of confusing youth with innovation. I checked my watch. Now shall we discuss the real reason for this meeting? Your artificial intelligence division's contracts are up for renewal. The contracts I'd originally developed at Neurotech, which Victoria had dismissed as legacy technology. The room slowly shifted from hostile to attentive as I outlined my plans. These men hadn't built their careers by backing losing courses, and my track record, the one Victoria had mocked, spoke for itself. By meeting's end, even Frederick Chen was nodding along. As the board members filed out, he lingered. You know, he said quietly, Victoria always thought business was about flash and disruption. She never understood it's about patience and strategy. No, I agreed, watching another urgent text from her light up my phone. But she's about to learn. My assistant entered with a stack of papers. Ms. Chen is in the lobby. She's quite insistent. I thought of that day 6 months ago when she'd sat in my chair, drinking champagne with my husband. Let her wait, I said, turning to the window overlooking the city. I believe she's about to learn another valuable business lesson. Which is? I smiled, watching Neurotech's stock price fall another point. The corner office always looks different when you've earned it rather than stolen it. I made Victoria wait exactly 43 minutes, 1 minute for each year of my age she'd mocked during her takeover. When she finally entered my office, her designer outfit couldn't hide her desperation. You're making a mistake, she said without preamble. Neurotech needs this merger. No, I corrected, not looking up from my tablet. You need this merger. Neurotech needs competent leadership. She sank into the chair across from me, her perfectly manicured hands gripping her Hermes bag. The board supports me. The board supports whoever controls the company's future. I finally looked at her. Tell me, Victoria, did you really think leveraging your entire trust fund was a smart business move? The color drained from her face. How did you? No, I've been in business longer than you've been alive. Did you really think I wouldn't investigate every angle after you and James orchestrated my removal? James and I are planning a spring wedding. Yes, I know. Though I suspect that might be changing, given your family's current situation. My phone buzzed with an update. Chen family members were calling an emergency meeting to discuss Victoria's unauthorized use of trust fund assets. The dynasty was crumbling, and she knew it. I can fix Neurotech, she insisted. The AI division just needs. The AI division that's losing $2 million a month because you ignored the maintenance protocols I established. The one where half the senior developers quit after you dismissed their concerns as old thinking. I pulled up the latest reports. That AI division. She flinched. We have new developers. Fresh from coding boot camps, yes. I'm sure they'll figure out the government-grade security protocols eventually, assuming our military contracts don't pull out first. Her composure cracked slightly. What do you want? Want? I'm just practicing business the way you taught me. What was it you said? Technology needs young, hungry leadership. I was wrong, okay? Her voice shook. Is that what you want to hear? What I want, I said carefully, is for you to understand exactly what you destroyed. Not just my company, but your family's legacy. All because you thought youth trumped experience. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. Ms. Williams, Mr. Thompson is here. He's with Mr. Chen. Victoria's eyes widened. My father's here? Did you really think he wouldn't come when he discovered his daughter gambled away an 80-year-old family empire for a tech company she couldn't run? The door opened before she could respond. James, my ex-husband, entered first, looking as polished as ever in his corporate lawyer's suit. Behind him, Alexander Chen carried the weight of his family's legacy in his stern expression. Sarah, James started, but Alexander cut him off. Victoria, her father's voice was quiet but sharp. What have you done? She straightened, summoning her corporate persona. Daddy, I can explain. Explain how you leveraged your trust fund without consulting the family. Explain how you violated the terms of your inheritance. He turned to me. Ms. Williams, I assume this meeting isn't coincidental. No, Mr. Chen, it isn't. I pulled up a comprehensive presentation. I have a proposal that might salvage something from this situation. James stepped forward. Whatever you're planning, Sarah, is purely business. I interrupted, using Victoria's own words against her. Please sit. All of you. They did, creating an unlikely tableau. My ex-husband, his young fiancé, and her powerful father, all waiting for my next move. Neurotech's core technology is still valuable, I began. But it needs experienced leadership and stable funding. CGI can provide both, but not under current management. Victoria's face fell as she understood. You want me to step down. I want you to learn from this. There's a position in CGI's junior development team. Starting at entry level, of course. Entry level? She looked stunned. I have an MIT degree. And no practical experience, as your management of Neurotech proved. I turned to Alexander. Your daughter has potential, Mr. Chen. But she needs to earn her position, not inherit it. Alexander studied me for a long moment. The family board is calling for her complete removal from any business interests, which would be a waste of her education and connections. I met Victoria's eyes. Sometimes we need to start over to grow stronger. James cleared his throat. And my position as Neurotech's legal counsel will be reviewed by the new management team. I smiled coldly. I suggest updating your resume. The meeting ended with Victoria accepting the junior position. She had little choice, with her trust fund compromised and her family's support wavering. James left alone, his spring wedding plans suddenly uncertain. Alexander Chen stayed behind. You orchestrated all of this, he said, but there was admiration rather than accusation in his tone. I learned from experience, I replied, something your daughter will now have the opportunity to do. Later that evening, as I reviewed the final merger documents that would bring Neurotech back under my control, Victoria's last Instagram post caught my attention. Gone was the glossy CEO pose, replaced by a more subdued image of her at a junior developer's desk. Learning that true success isn't about age or titles, she'd written. It's about earning your place and respecting those who built the path before you. My phone buzzed with a text from Alexander Chen. She's actually shown up for her first week of training. Perhaps there's hope. I looked out at the city skyline from my new office, one earned through decades of work rather than inherited privilege. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies, but teaching them the value of what they try to destroy. Neurotech's stock was already rising on news of the management change. Turned out experience still counted for something in the tech world, regardless of age. 6 months into her junior developer position, Victoria Chen was a different person. Gone were the designer suits and social media power poses. Instead, she arrived early each morning in practical business wear, diving into code with the same intensity she'd once applied to corporate takeovers. I watched her progress through weekly reports, knowing how she'd slowly earned the respect of her team, not through family connections or charm, but through genuine effort and growing expertise. She debugged the AI's neural network issue, my head of development reported. The one her bootcamp developers couldn't fix. Turns out she actually studied this at MIT when she wasn't plotting corporate takeovers. The irony wasn't lost on me. The same determination that had made her a dangerous enemy was now making her a valuable employee. One evening, I found her still at her desk long after most had left. The military contract review is tomorrow, she said without looking up. I found some efficiency improvements in the code base you originally wrote. I reviewed her work. The improvements were solid, showing both technical skill and business understanding. You could have had this, I said quietly. All of it properly earned over time. She finally looked up, her expression free of its former arrogance. I know, I was so focused on proving I could take it, I never considered whether I should. And James? Left for a younger model. She laughed without humor. Apparently, junior developers don't fit his image of success. The next day's contract review went perfectly. Victoria's improvements impressed the military representatives, and her humble acknowledgement of the team's collective effort surprised her father, who attended as CGI's chairman. She's changed, Alexander observed afterward. You were right about making her earn her way. Sometimes losing everything helps you understand its true value, I replied. That evening, I called a special meeting of both companies' boards. Victoria sat with her development team, not at the executive table. A change in position she'd accepted with unexpected grace. Neurotech and CGI's merger has exceeded projections, I began, largely due to innovations from our combined AI team. I nodded toward Victoria's group, including significant contributions from our junior developers. She straightened slightly but maintained her professional demeanor, which is why I'm announcing a new leadership structure for our AI division. I pulled up the organizational chart. We're creating a joint development council, combining experience with fresh perspectives. Victoria's name appeared on a chart, not at the top, but in a key technical leadership role. Ms. Chen has demonstrated both technical expertise and personal growth, I continued. She's earned this position through merit, not inheritance. The room was silent as Victoria processed this. Finally, she spoke. Thank you, but I need to earn this properly. She took a deep breath. I'd like to propose a 6-month probationary period with clear performance metrics. Alexander Chen looked at his daughter with newfound respect. Later in my office, Victoria stopped by. Why give me another chance? She asked. After everything I did. I showed her an old photo from Neurotech's early days. Me at a junior developer's desk, working late hours. Because someone once gave me a chance to prove myself. Success means more when you've earned it through work rather than warfare. She nodded, understanding at last. I have a lot to learn. We all do. That's what makes business interesting. As she left, I noticed her new LinkedIn profile. No power poses or corporate buzzwords, just a simple professional headshot and a description. Learning, growing, and earning my place in tech. The next morning, I found a handwritten note on my desk. Thank you for teaching me the difference between taking leadership and earning it. I placed it next to that old photo. A reminder that sometimes the best victory isn't in defeating your enemies, but in transforming them into allies. Neurotech and CGI's stock prices hit new highs that week. It turned out the market appreciates when wisdom and innovation work together instead of against each other. In the end, the revenge I planned had evolved into something more valuable. A lesson in true leadership, taught by example rather than force. Sometimes the best way to deal with those who try to replace you is to teach them why experience matters in the first place.